Hello, kiddos. We're going to talk about EPA 608 recovery vacuum rate. When you're recovering the refrigerant, there's a required vacuum rate for certain amounts of refrigerant. You can monitor it on a recovery machine because it has a high and low gauges. You would use the low side gauges to watch a vacuum because low side gauges has PSI and inches of vacuum or inches of mercury. All right. Um, I mainly use my manifold gauges that I use to recover, evacuate, and dehydrate the system with. Um, uh, the gauges are usually pretty accurate on the recovery machine, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with my gauges because I feel that if it shows correctly on my manifold gauges, that I'm more likely to be more reliable. So it's real easy. You got 5 things that you need to remember, and it's really easy. The first one is really easy. The very high pressures refrigerants, the very high pressure refrigerant. And the reason why is there's only one, which is 744, R744, which is carbon dioxide. And it's real easy. No matter if it's more than 200 or less than 200, the vacuum rate should be just 0. What you're going to notice is the higher the refrigerant pressure is, the lower the vacuum rate. So this is inches of mercury, which is 0. 0 atmosphere. Okay. The lower the pressures, the deeper the vacuum you must recover. Because in very high refrigerants, it's easy for it to come out of the system, so you don't have to work as hard to get it out. But the lower the pressure of the refrigerant, the harder it has to work the harder you have to work to get the refrigerant out of the system. So the next one we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, I didn't put very high. Very high pressure refrigerants, which is only one that they talk about is R744, which is carbon dioxide. And no matter if it's more than 200 or less than 200, the vacuum rate is 0. So that's real easy for very high refrigerant. That one's an easy question if you ever see it. The next is high refrigerant, high pressure refrigerants. High pressure refrigerants. And a good example of that is R410A. And you may see that on the question. They may not say high pressure refrigerant, but they'll say R410A. So remember, 410A is a high pressure refrigerant. Well, there's 2 things you need to remember. Either it's less than 200 pounds or it's more than 200 pounds. All right? If it's less than 200 pounds, you only have to get 0 inches of mercury, right? If it's more than 200 pounds, it's 10 inches of vacuum or mercury, right? So 0, 10, real easy. High refrigerants, it's either 0 or 10. Very high, it's always going to be 0. Now, medium pressure refrigerants, all right? I think they use 403, I think, or 22. Over here, I do know that 407C is considered a high refrigerant. So you maybe want to keep your mind in check about 407 or R410A. But R22, 403 are usually around medium. The ones that they've been talking about that I may have noticed is very high and high. All right. Again, same as here. We need to know if it's 200 pounds or less or more than 200 pounds. And these are in pounds. I know I didn't put that. Pounds of refrigerant in the system. Okay? So if it's less than 200 pounds or if it's more than 200 pounds on medium refrigerant, less than 200 pounds, it's 10 inches of mercury. If it's more than 200 pounds, it's 15 inches of mercury or vacuum. So the pressures of the refrigerant, if it's a very high pressure refrigerant, doesn't matter, 200 pounds or more or 200 pounds less, it's 0. If it's high pressure refrigerant and it says R407C or R410A, if it's less than 200, it's 0 inches of vacuum. And if it's more than 200 pounds of refrigerant, then it's 10 inches of mercury. All right? Also, medium refrigerants. Same, less than 200 pounds, 10 inches of mercury. More than 200 pounds, 15 inches of mercury. Okay? That should be really easy to remember. First one, very high, easy. You see that refrigerant or it says very high, easy. If it says high pressure or it says one of these two refrigerants on there, it's definitely just a high pressure refrigerant. And then you need to determine if it's in that category. Medium pressure refrigerants. Again, I haven't seen anything over that, but if there were medium refrigerants, then it would be 10 or 15. 10 less, 15 more. High pressure refrigerants, right? It's 0 for less and 10 for more. And very high is real easy. No matter less or more, it's 0. Okay? There's also what they call a leak rate that you need to be aware of. Okay? And we're talking about refrigerant, 15 pounds or more refrigerant. So leak rate, 50 pounds or more of refrigerant. Just remember one, we either got comfort, cooling, right? Commercial, or refrigeration, or industrial. You're looking for these 3 words right here. It's real easy. It's either comfort cooling is 10%, this one's 20%, and the highest one is 30%. So you got to remember, it's not 15, not 5, not 35, 25. It's either 10%, 20%, or 30%. Commercials in the middle, all right? CCI, right? Just remember that 10% regular air conditioners like in your home, which is comfort cooling air conditioners, is 10%. Commercial refrigeration, so that could be anything from making ice to dehydrating or freezing up food products. And 30 industrial, we're talking about ammonia type, right? So 10%, 20%, 30%. Leak rate, 50 pounds or more refrigerant, right? If you have any questions, give me an email.